Oh, good morning, everybody. So today is December 10th, 12/10, and what I thought I'd do today is just do some problems, because what I want to talk about more than anything is adding, subtracting when I need to make a common denominator. So before I do anything, when we add or subtract any fractions, you have to have a common denominator. What does that mean? It means the bottom has to be the same. Well, in this case, 3 over x plus 5 over x, I already have a common denominator. They're the same. They are the same. So that common denominator is just plain old x. So I just like to write it down. And then in that case, I just add the numerators. When I go 3 plus 5 is 8. Boom. Done. Easy, right? Okay, let me keep going. Okay, it's pretty easy. Let me keep going. Number 9. Okay, if I take a look at number 9, I already have a common denominator. Sweet. X minus 3, so I'm just going to write it down. X minus 3. Now I have to add my numerators. So I got x and a minus 1, and subtract 1 and 4 is going to make a 3. So I'm going to get an x plus 3. Now I'd love to be able to do more, cancel the x, cancel 3's, but I can't. You cannot do that because this is an x plus 3. This is not just an x. So I'm done. Boom. Okay. Let me give you a real easy illustration of this. If you want to cancel the x's or 3's, if you had 7 minus 3 over 7 plus 3, what's your answer? Well, it's not going to be cancel. You can't do that, okay? Don't do that. 4/10, right? You can't cancel. Okay, now, number 10, same thing. It already has a common denominator, so boom, write it down. They have a common denominator. It is an x plus 3. Awesome. So you have a common denominator, then subtract the numerators. 2x minus 4x makes a negative 2x. That's it. You're done. Okay, boom, you're done. Now, number 11's different because we do not have a common denominator. In fact, they're different. This is an x squared, that's an x. So how do we make them the same? Well, just like we did in 6th grade, I'm going to multiply this one by x over x. And the reason I'll do that is because I'll get an x squared here. So let me take the time to do an extra step. So I'd have 6 over x squared for this fraction. That one's not going to change because my common denominator is going to be an x squared. Plus a 3x over an x squared. Okay? So I have a common denominator. That is x squared. So just boom. Have it. Write it down. X squared. Write it down. And then what I'd have is a 6 plus 3x. I might write it the other way around. Same thing though. Okay? Now, don't cancel the x's. You are done. That's all you can do, but you have added the two fractions. Okay? Number 12, very similar. Very, very similar. If I look at them, they do not have a common denominator. So what does this have that this one doesn't? What does this have that this one doesn't? What does this fraction have on the bottom that this one doesn't? It has a y. This fraction needs a y over y, so they'll be common. So multiply by a y over y. And when I multiply, my common denominator, the numerator here is a 2y squared. My denominator here is a 3xy. Okay, so now when I look at both fractions, I have a common denominator. What is it? Well, it is just my, boom, 3xy. And what is on top, the numerator, add them together. I'll have a 5x plus a 2y squared. I cannot really add those, so I'll just go 5x plus a 2y squared. Boom, done. Okay, awesome. Okay, let's look at number 13. So if I look at 13, I want a common denominator. I'm thinking probably 4xy. I'm thinking 4xy as the common denominator. So let's multiply this one by 2 over 2. And let's multiply this one by an x over x, because that would make them the same. Oh, I need to do more. A y over y, silly me, and that'll make a 4xy and a 4xy. So let's see what we have as a common denominator. So top fraction is an 8y. The bottom fraction is going to be a 4xy plus. Over here I'll have a 3x over a 4xy. Now I have my common denominator. What is it? It is a 4xy, right? So write it down, 4xy. What's left is to add the numerators, 8y plus 3x. 8y plus 3x is just an 8y plus 3x, okay? So now we're working on common denominators. Let's look at some problems that are a little bit bigger that will require some factoring. So let me turn my page and let's do 4 and then 5. Now the problem with 4 is it needs common denominator. Even though they both have x's, it's like a multiply. It's like a multiply. You gotta be careful. It's like a multiply. So to do this, if I just multiply by x over x, it won't make them the same. Not at all. I have to multiply by an x minus 2 over an x minus 2. Yeah, just multiplying by x over x won't make them the same, okay? Or 2 over 2. Same thing over here. I have to multiply this one by an x plus 8 over an x plus 8. So if I multiply, let's see what I get. All right, let's do the numerator here. I'll get a 15x plus, let's see, 4, it's 120, I think so. Hold on, 15 times 8, I think it's 120. 15 times 8, 120, yep. Plus 120 over my common denominator, which is this x plus 8 over x minus 2, okay? So I have to do that. Plus, let's see what I get on this second fraction. So I've got to distribute. I'll have a 3x minus 6 over, well, my x plus 8 and my x minus 2. Okay, now, when I take a look at this, they have a common denominator. They really do. They're the same. So I can just write down my common denominator, which is my x plus 8 times my x minus 2. Now, if I do that, then let's add my numerators. Okay, if I add these, I'll get an 18x, and then 120 minus 6, what's that? 114 plus 114. And that's all you can do. You can't do anything more with that. Just leave it. Okay? I'd like to do more, but I can't. Okay? All right. Example 5. What I'm going to do on example 5 is actually factor, because I think something will happen if I factor it. Let's give it a try. So I factor this one, 2x, x. I'm going to use a 3 and a 1, but I'm going to be careful with my double smiley, so I'll put my 3 here and my 1 here. Remember the double smiley? There's my 6 and a 1. If I had a negative 6 and a positive 1, I'd have it. Okay, so let me rewrite what I have. So I have a 3x over a 2x plus 1 plus a 10 over, now if I factor that into a 2x plus 1 times an x minus 3. Okay, so now I factored a big deal. Well, it is kind of a big deal because remember, this is like having parentheses here. What does this second fraction have that this first fraction doesn't have? Is an x minus 3. It has a 2x plus 1, but it needs an x minus 3. So I'm going to give it an x minus 3. So I'm going to multiply both sides by the x minus 3 over the x minus 3. Okay, property of 1, that's why you multiply both top and bottom the same. Okay, so what does this do? Well, I know I have a common denominator, and it happens to be this x minus 3 over this 2x plus 1. Okay, I know I have that common denominator. Let's see what's on top, though. Distribute. I have a 3x squared minus 9x plus 10. Okay? And I think that's it. I don't think this will factor 10 to, I don't think so. I think that's it. It'd be nice if we could get more out of it, but that is my answer, okay? That's all I got. So, please do the homework. It's a difficult assignment if you're in fourth period. Fourth period is going to take our chapter test on Tuesday. And if you're in first period, we're going to take our chapter test on Thursday. First period, take our test on Thursday, and fourth period test on Tuesday. Okay, so that's all I have. I'll talk to you guys in class. Hopefully in Zoom we'll get all this squared away. Okay, got it.